Hi everybody, welcome to Malkia Talks. Today I am doing something a little different. So normally you would see me cooking or narrating, or I might even just be updating you on what's going on with some of my other channels. But today I am actually doing the accepted test. Now that's a book tag set up by the booktuber Riddhima, whose description and links will be whose links will be in the description to the video. So why don't we just crack in and get going? A lot of other YouTubers have done this, and I thought it was about time I got around to doing my answers to the accepted test, so here we go. So, question number 1. How did you first hear about Wheel of Time, and what made you want to read the series? Now, for those of you who followed my content, this is not really going to be new information for you. This was about 20 years ago or so. I was fed up of reading single story books, maybe even just, 2 books or 3 books type thing, a trilogy. And I wanted something, because I felt, I got to the end of the story and I was like, I want more, which is obviously good from a set of books, from a single book. Anything really, if you want more, then it's done its job. But there was never any more. And I thought, and I don't want a little trio of stories and then the same author to write a different set of trio of stories or a single book or whatever it might be. I want that story that I love so much to carry on and on and on and on. So I was looking for something I could commit to, something that was bigger. And I was walking around my local Waterstones, which is the bookstore here in the UK that, is the biggest one most people go to. And on the shelf was the Wheel of Time. Now we're talking 2000-ish, somewhere around that bracket. So I believe there was 6 or 7 books out at that stage. Trying to think, 90. So yeah, 8, maybe 9 even, who knows? Probably about 8 books. I lose track, to be honest. And I thought, this is a series I can commit to. Let's hope it's good. So I picked up The Eye of the World, read the blurb, and I was like, this sounds like my sort of thing. I'm buying it. Like a couple months later, I'm back getting the next book, and I was hooked in countless rereads and all that sort of stuff that went with it. Question 2. If you had a chance to join an Aja in the White Tower, which one would you join? Now, I'm going to break the rules a little bit here because I don't feel like I fit into an Aja properly. Although I did do a test from the Weaves of the Wheel where they have one of those like face things and it put me in the greys, and I'm like, no, I don't really see myself in the greys. So I have picked one for a slightly different reason. But I also am going to talk about what I would normally pick if someone asked me. But this comes with a part 2 on the question, so this is why I was like, I have to pick one of the regular 7. So I've picked the Yellow Aja. Now, healing is not, I'm not a doctor. I'm not no plans to be a doctor, brain surgeon, or anything of that sort of nature. But I'm all about healing the planet. I'm all about, being green and ethical and things like that. And I just thought, you know what? Let's join the Yellow Aja. Let's tweak it a little bit, and not just about healing people, but about healing the world a little bit, shall we say. Little bit of a stretch there, but there was nowhere else I could really fit into. My normal go-to when I say, if I was in the White Tower, I would be, and if you're in the Discord, you've seen me pick them, Black Aja. I know, I'm sorry, I don't know, they're just crap. And I'm like, you can do better. And I like to be, I picked Slytherin. I wasn't put in Slytherin, I was sorted in Gryffindor. I was like, no, I want to be a Slytherin instead. I enjoy being a little different like that. So, but yeah, that's it. So yellow, but really black. Sorry. So question 2 has a follow-up question, depending on which Aja you picked. So for yellow, it asks you for your best Nynaeve moment. Now, Nynaeve is not my favourite character. She's pretty awesome, and I know a lot of people think she's the greatest character ever, but, she's not my personal favourite. But her greatest moment, maybe a moment that I would really just enjoy watching the acting for, but I think it's after she nearly drowns in the boat thanks to Mogadine, trying to balefire her, and Lan rescuing her like he does, but she'd just broken a block. She might have rescued herself. There's a bit there's some debate going on there, I could say. But anyway, she's all just like giggly and lovey-dovey and just like, oh, you just rescued me from the water, and and I've heard people say like, oh, that's not Why is she suddenly all like, 14-year-old schoolgirl type? And I was reading in a Discord server, someone describing this moment, and if you think about it, Nynaeve's just been stuck at the bottom of a river. She's suffocating, she's running out of oxygen. When you deplete your brain of oxygen, you're basically getting yourself high, kind of, it's the same sort of effects. And she's just been pulled out of this water. She's suddenly gone, boof, full of power. And, her brain is oxygen deprived and she's just acting all giddy and silly and like, yeah. I think that's an hilarious moment. And it's become my favorite Nynaeve moment because of that different way of looking at the scene. Now, I did pick Black Azure as well, and that's my normal go-to. So I thought I would add a little side question onto that. So what's the best moment that a Forsaken has is the question I've gone for. And the Forsaken, they have some good moments. They usually have some crappy moments. They're an interesting bunch of Muppets, shall we say. Perhaps they should be cast and portrayed by puppets. Leave cast guys get in there. But I have to say it's when Mogadine sort of just shields Liandrin. It's just, it's a great moment. She just had a battle with Brigitte and all that sort of thing. She's injured. She's trying to get healed. She's not at full capacity. Leandrin's just like, oh, I can get in here and beat a Forsaken, or Chosen, as obviously she would say. And Mogadine's just like, I may have just had my ass whooped. I may be in serious need of healing. I might be dropping dead in 5 minutes, but I can still whoop your ass. And here we go. And it's just a great moment. So that's my little extra bit there to the question, because I didn't play by the rules. That's my punishment. More information. Question 3. If the Black Tower had Ajahs, what might they be? So this one, now I've heard a lot of things, builders and warriors and all sorts of things like that, travelers. But for me, this sort of starts off with Loghain's perspective being changed at the end of the story. So obviously Loghain feels that the world has turned against him. He's just been done over a few times, and he has. The guy's been through the ringer a little bit, especially at the tower and on top of everything else prior to that. But at the end, obviously it's like, oh, I will send him to you to see if he has the gift and things like that. And Loghain suddenly realizes that, the Black Tower has gained a different perception from the regular folk. And so I feel that that's going to play on where they go in the future. So a couple of the ideas I think they might have, because they're going to be more humanitarian than warriors. They're going to want to step away from that initial thing. They want to make their own identity. So, I've got a silly one here. There would be like superheroes protecting the world. Come on, channeling like a magic power. It is a magic power. It's like a superhero power. I mean, you're like Superman, all sorts of stuff you can do. It's wild. Shoot fire, you can't fly, but, you can be incredibly strong because you can get air to assist you to do things. And it could be a lot of fun. They're out there fighting crime, so to speak. And I just think that would be a lot of fun. But a little bit more seriously, I think that they would want to help the world rebuild. Now, obviously, that comes into being the builders of the world, their links with the Ogier, the way the Ogier build. Like, they've just built the White Tower. The Aes Sedai are just like, we can't even take apart White Harbour when someone turns the chain into Quendia. So, I feel that the Black Tower are going to be in there first. They're going to be working with the Ogiers, and that will also naturally lead onto seed singing and things of that nature. And I feel that they are going to be making things, like the Ogier, wanting to make things grow, wanting to help rebuild the world and protect this new world in the new age, whilst the Aes Sedai do all their meddling and scheming and all that sort of crap and bullshit. So that's what I think they might do. What they would call them, I'm not sure. They might go colours, they might not be needed. They might just call themselves builders, growers, crime fighters, Spider-Man, Superman, X-Men. Who knows? All right, question number 4. Who's a character you love but would hate to meet in real life? This one's quite an interesting one for me because, I love a lot of characters and I think I'd still want to meet them in real life. But this character I love, not because I love the character, but I love what they bring to the story and the character development they have for a couple other people. And that is Slayer. Or Luke, whatever you want to call it, is Ispen? I forget, I'm having a moment there, sorry. But yeah, Slayer, I just think the dynamic between him and Perrin, the danger he poses, his abilities to just be like, in the world of dreams, go somewhere else, back out, kill you, back in the world of dreams. That's tough to track. No one's hopping in and out that quick. Even if you're channeling your way in and out, it's definitely not as fast as that, especially when we get to the end and we see how fast they're just sort of literally that fast popping between the two worlds. And I just think that's amazing. Obviously, if I met him in real life, might not be the coolest dude to hang out with, might want to kill me. I don't feel I'm that important to the world in terms of like, I'm going to stop the Dark One myself. But, you know, it's not exactly the chill guy that you go to the pub with for a beer, is he? So, yeah, that might be a little scary to meet, but I think he's a great character for the books, and I love the development and the causality he has in the books and the storyline, and his connections to people as well, in terms of family and stuff. I think it's wonderful. So, yeah, that's my answer for 4. Number 5. Who's a character from another book that I feel would make a good warder? This one, there were some obvious ones that came to mind. Some people have gone for like Vin from the Mistborn series or others like that. But my instant thought is a character I really, really love from another series by James Barclay. And that character is the Unknown Warrior. He is a very big man, very stoic, very strong, but you know, has strong values, strong core beliefs, and stands by them no matter what. And he is an absolute kick-ass fighter. Like, seriously, this dude is amazing. He works better in a group than as an individual, but as an individual, he whoops ass on most groups, let alone other individuals. It's like Lan, sort of, in that respect. And I think he would be an amazing warder, very strong, you know, has leadership qualities, but, you know, can follow commands and things of that nature, and his fighting ability is you know, basically second to none. So that's my shot for who would make a good warder from another series. Number 6. What is a scene from the books you're most excited to see on screen? How long have you got? Really? That long? Probably not. So many I want to see. But I was thinking, do we go for like what I want to see in season 1, what I want to see in season 2, all the books in general? And I'm just like, I can't choose. And I was like, do you know what? I want something a little bit early on, but not in the first 2 seasons, because that's me saying I want a 3rd or a 4th season, 5th season, you know, like, give me 10 seasons. Bring it on. Come on, let's do it. And so I've picked the Battle of the Two Rivers, but specifically when it's all going to shit at the end, you know, and the women have had to hop in there, and the young girls to, you know, to try and hold back the horde of Trollocs, and then they all come in from Taran Ferry with Fael, and it's just like, you know, everybody's okay, and we get that superhero moment at the end where, you know, Perrin's half dead, but he's like able to just like, oh, I'll just trot out here on a horse through all these dead bodies, which there's not going to be a clip after be trotting out in the middle of all those dead bodies. You're clambering over stuff on this sort of poor horse. I mean, seriously. So you can have a smooch with your missus in the middle who's got no dirt on her whatsoever, and you're half dead. But it's a fun moment. It's real heartwarming, and it gives me chills. Love it. Absolutely love it. So can't wait to see that scene on TV. Question 7. What are your favourite and least favourite book covers? Now, I have been listening to a lot of other people do this, and they're like, oh, I love this cover from this book, or this cover from that book. I'm a little more broad when I talk about book covers. I don't really have a specific book cover, because these are the books we got in the UK back in the 90s, or whatever it was I bought this one. As you can see, I might have read this a few times. In fact, I've read this so many times, like, it's all starting to fade away on the front. But it's an amazing book. Poor thing's getting a bit worked. So, yeah. But we got very simple, plain, you know, nothing special going on. Blurb on the background. Little bit of pictures here. I feel like this is matching from the US covers. But this is what I saw. Obviously, this is not book 1. I've lost my book 1. I've had to buy a new one. I have moved a lot since I started buying them. Really sorry. In fact, I moved literally across the world after I started buying these books. So they've travelled to New Zealand and back. And I've lived in a couple places since I got back. I lived in a few places in New Zealand while I was there. So, you know, they've done a lot of travelling. So I've only lost, I think, 3 out of all the books. Quite impressed with myself. But yeah. So we had these very simple covers going on, and the new modern versions that are out here in the UK are much lighter in colour. They don't have this little picture strip on the back, and they are very just clean and finished. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, this is boring, minimalism, all that sort of stuff. And I get that. You're absolutely true. There's no action going on here whatsoever. But what that said to me when I saw it on the shelf and picked it up, very, very clear that there was multiple books going on. I was just like, yeah, I'm down for that. That makes it easy. But they don't need to waste time on the cover. Oh, hear me out there. I don't mean that badly. You know, this story is so amazing that we don't need to pull you in with the cover. Because you're going to open it up and just be like sucked in instantly. So why do we need to put fancy shit on the outside? So, and that follows on to my least favorite book covers. And that has to be some of those ones that everyone else is talking about. Like, I just watched Lesbian Nerdy's video, and I'm sure she said it was Fires of Heaven cover, or perhaps another one. And it's like some sort of really cheesy 80s romance cover that just went completely wrong, and they all feel like that to me. They're not artistically accurate to the books, which, you know, they don't have to be, and artists and authors never really get that sort of contact to do that, so, you know, I understand, but yeah, they just look cheesy and horrible, just all of them. So yeah, I love the UK minimalism idea, not a fan of the American messed up artistic, don't match the books, not even have a proper theme on them covers. So that's kind of where I sit on that, and I'm sorry if I upset you, but, you know, each to their own sort of thing. If someone gave me an amazing copy that was one of those American ones and it was like, you know, first edition signed by Robert Jordan or something like that, I'd be like, I'm not throwing it out. I still love it. I still love the books, even if those were the only ones I could buy. I just like the clean-cut covers because it says to me the story inside's so good we don't need to flash the outside. That's just how my mind goes. So that's what I pick. Question 8. What's a location in the Wheel of Time you'd like to visit? Now, there's a very obvious answer here, and I think I gave it on the Dusty Wheel, actually. Go to Malkir, but obviously post last battle when Malkir is, you know, able to be reclaimed, or even prior to its falling. Because I am Malkiri Rob. Malkir Talks is my channel. You know, kind of makes sense. And when he pushed me for answer, because that was too obvious, that I picked the Waste, because I was like, you know, I like a challenge. I think the Aiel are cool people. But do you know what? I've been thinking ever since, and frankly, I just want to go to the Wine Spring Inn. I want to go to Mistress Alvear's kitchen, and I just want to cook. I want to cook with Mistress Alvear. I want to learn what she can teach me, because she's the best cook in Emmonsfield. And why would I not want to learn from her? Why would I not want to taste her honey cakes and try the apple brandy that comes in from Tam, and just bake food, cook food, you know, for the inn and for celebrations, bell time, all those weddings, all those sorts of things. I just think that would be heavenly and a perfect place to live and to stay in the Wheel of Time. Question 9. If you could make your own Tiangreau, and, you know, what would it do and what would it look like? So I am, for those of you who aren't aware, like, I love growing things. I've really started to get into it since during lockdown. I've always had, you know, succulents around the house, and I've dabbled in a couple of things in the garden, but, you know, never really much success. And during lockdown, I've started to do crazy things. I've taken packets of pre-cut herbs from the supermarket and grown plants from them. And I'm not lying, you know, I'm growing avocado from seeds. My aloe vera plants have split. I brought one 6 years ago, and now I have 20 plants, and they're all sprouting little new ones, and it's just like, oh my God. So I'm really getting into growing things, and I'm expanding on what I'm growing all the time, because I just, you know, I love it, and I want a house full of green stuff. So I feel that I would invent a Tiangreau that is like seed singing, that anyone could use. You can give to a farmer, that would help enhance the crops. Just, you're gone, grow more trees. It's just, you know, oh, this marshland, let's improve the grasses and the other plants that are in the marshland. The algae that naturally grows in lakes and ponds and that other creatures will use to sustain themselves. Like, you know, just make nature grow more. I just think that would be beautiful. So a seed of growing, or something of that sort of nature, I might call it. And let's go a little cliche. I'd like it to be the shape of a tree, because, you know, trees are the lungs of the planet. So a bit green, sorry. Question 10. What is another book or series you think Wheel of Time fans might like? Now, I've heard lots of people throw stuff out there. If you haven't tried haven't tried Brandon Sanderson, give that a try. King Killer Chronicles, that, you know, some people love, Daniel Green hates, you know, all sorts of things. There's been plenty thrown out there, but I have not heard of this one. So, this is my recommendation. This is James Barclay. This is the first book in his 7-book series, or a 4, and then a later set of 3 with the same characters. This one's called Dawn Thief, and it's about a group of warriors known as the Raven. And this world has magic. So this is the Chronicles of the Raven, number 1. And then there's Legends of the Ravens, which is the trilogy that follows this quadrilogy. What's 4 books called? I don't know, 4-book story followed by a trilogy. Or is it a trilogy followed by 4 books? Pretty sure it's 4 followed by a trilogy. But either way, James Barclay, these are great books. I've read them 4 or 5 times. Never get bored of them. This is the story that the Unknown Warrior comes from that I mentioned earlier, would make a good warder. So if nothing else, I recommend you pick up the book and see if you would agree that he would make a good warder. But yeah, James Barclay, awesome set of books there. 7 books again, you know, something you can get your teeth into. There's magic, there's elves, there's no orcs, but, you know, there's lots of other things. And there's even some inter-magic politics going on for those of you who enjoy that sort of stuff. So yeah, give it a try. Lastly, I've just got to tag some other content creators or fans. So if you follow my channel and you're like, do you know what? I've never made a Wheel of Time video, but why not? I'll give it a stab. Please answer these questions and, you know, tag me in it so I know you've done it, and I will share it, promote it, all that sort of stuff. In terms of content creators, there's so many that have been tagged, and a lot of them have done them. I'm late to the party despite being asked to be tagged initially. But I am going to shout out for Andrew, the Bard of Time. Andrew, get on this. I think we would really love to hear what you would say to these questions. So that is my sort of nomination for the next person to give this a go. But yeah, that's kind of it. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing my answers. Hopefully you haven't been too upset with some of my controversy and adding a few extra things in. But yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're up to, and we'll see you next time.